I want to talk about honestly a bit of an existential crisis that I had early on in my career. I would sit inside behind all my monitors, and I would kind of look way out in the distance, and I would just look outside, and I would just finding myself wishing that I was out there somewhere. It didn't matter, and basically it resulted in me walking outside, walking down to the river, and then just walking up and down the river for 20 to 30 minutes, coming back inside and wishing I was back out there. This really went on for many months. I would say 6 to 7 months, where I was just really not happy inside, and I was not happy working behind a screen anymore, and I was not happy doing software engineering. And I couldn't figure out why, because I had studied for 4 years to do this job that I'm doing now, and I wasn't happy. And it felt like to me, on paper, I had every reason to be happy. And yet I was still finding, like, I was still having feelings like I was not fulfilled, and I was not, going after my true purpose. And I was not, living in the real world. I was locked in some kind of, matrix, as they put it. That's what I felt. And this was every day. This was every day for easily the first year of my career. And I just couldn't shake it. And I just didn't know what was going on. But I look back on it, and it still is fascinating to me. It really is. I spent 4 years studying for, a job, right? I was in information technology management. I took programming classes, I took business classes, and I took, database, enterprise architecture, networking, web development, all those kind of things. And I liked a lot of those classes, and I worked on personal projects. I did extra programming classes as electives. I feel like I did all the things that I should have. I did internships. I did all the stuff, and I just wasn't there. I just wasn't feeling it. I just was not happy doing it, and it was immensely frustrating because I had felt like I wasted my opportunity that I had. I felt like I wasted the one opportunity in my life I had where I had complete freedom to chart my path forward, to chart, my trajectory in life. And college is the one rare opportunity that you get, to pick your classes and spend all this time studying and preparing mentally for this career that's going to take you, so far in life. College is the opportunity. At least it was for me. And I felt like I wasted it. And I felt like I was now in a spot where I couldn't go back, right? Like I had just started. I had just started my job. And like I said, it was immensely frustrating. And I just didn't do anything about it. I just remained in the job. And 6 months passed, a year passed, and I felt the same way until I finally got a sticky note packet. And funny enough, it was actually a packet of sticky notes that I had gotten at a previous internship over a year ago. It was the summer before I graduated. And it was one of the big sticky note packets. It was the calendar ones, the big ones, I'm talking about. It had about 150 sheets of paper, somewhere around there. And I would just remember opening that packet. It was a planner, had Monday through Friday. And every time I would peel off that paper for the week, I would say to myself, by the time that I've gone through this entire Post-it deck, I'm going to be doing something different. You can see where that went. And I did that for a while. I would tear a page off, throw it in the trash, and I would say, okay, I'm one step closer. And then, I did that for a while. I did that for a few months. And then I started to tear the page out every once a couple weeks, and then I started to tear a page out every once every month, and then it just kind of stopped, and I haven't done it. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if I have that post-it packet anymore. I don't think I have it. I think I threw it away. I think about that often. I wish, to be honest with you, I wish I kept that, because I think that embodied so much of what I was feeling. I think that simple post-it note stack, I think just it just embodied how I felt. And I wish I kept it as kind of like a sign to me that sometimes you're going to be faced with a reality that you're not comfortable with, and sometimes you're going to be faced with something that's going to make you think that you chose the wrong path. And looking back on it, I don't think I did. I don't think I picked the wrong major. I don't think I wasted those 4 years in terms of studying. I don't think I chose the wrong career. But what I do think is I don't think that I was prepared for that transition from coding being a hobby to coding being a profession. I think that transition, at least for me, was incredibly difficult, and nobody talked about that. And I wish somebody had kind of talked to me about that and talked about the difficulties that arise when you are not getting paid to program and you can make whatever you want, to getting paid to program but having to make stuff that other people tell you to make. And that's which changes everything. Now I would say today, 5.5-ish years later, I don't feel that way really. I think as I've gotten older and as I've gotten, farther removed from school, and as I've learned and studied more on my own, I think I've come to appreciate the job more, and I've come to like it more as I've put more time and energy into trying to really learn it and get good at it. I think I've come to like it a lot more. But every once in a while, I'll still think of that post-it note stack, and that those thoughts will come back in my head, like maybe I picked the wrong thing. But now I look at it as something that I just need to accept, and I look at it as just the way it is. Meaning I just am going to feel that way sometimes. And I notice that I feel that way when I'm faced with a difficult project, or it's just a busier time at work. That's when I'll feel it the most. And I think that that's still my brain's way of trying to revert back to like the default state of like, try to remove yourself from the situation, to still hang on to the enjoyment that you once had doing it. Because when it gets difficult at work, when it gets busy, when you're working on something that's either difficult or maybe it's just something that you don't want to work on, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be enjoyable. And sometimes it's in those moments that, at least for me, I wish that I was still back in the time when I was free of all the pressure from making, a living off of it, and I could just truly work on my own projects and truly explore software development without all the stress. And admittedly, that's kind of like an idealistic state that it's not really attainable when you're making a living out of it. But for those rare few years in school, I think it was there. I think I had that state of true enjoyment, and I wish that I could still capture that. I think YouTube allows me to capture that a little bit, which is why I still do it. And I think that if you're in school, you got to take the opportunity. You got to seize every moment to pursue what you want to do and truly appreciate that time, because I think that that's one of the rare opportunities that you're going to get when you can work on coding without all the external stressors. Now, there's not to say that you can't potentially make that for yourself after school. Like you could join maybe like a meetup group for software engineering or something like that. That might be the same. Not sure. So if anyone has like any thoughts or anything like that, or is any thoughts about the general transition from school to working in software engineering, let me know, because I think for me that was a difficult transition, and honestly, I think I'm still working on it and just trying to figure out um, where I'm going with software engineering. So I'll see you in the next one.